Welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. The US-Taliban peace deal is on a fragile footing, and political gridlock has taken over the Afghan administration. Amidst all the problems Afghanistan is facing, US President Donald Trump has said that the Taliban could possibly overrun the Afghanistan government after the US withdrawal.
Eventually, countries have to take care of themselves. We can't be there for the next another 20 years. We've been there for 20 years. And we've been protecting the country, but we can't be there for the next. Eventually, they're going to have to protect themselves, you know. This should have been done a long time ago. But you can only hold somebody's hand for so long. We have to get back to running our country, too.
In Afghanistan, political tensions have peaked in recent weeks, even though the US and the Taliban have signed a peace deal. Afghanistan voted in a presidential election last year in September. It has been more than 5 months and there hasn't been an inauguration. After months of delay, Ashraf Ghani was declared the winner. But Abdullah has challenged the results. He serves as the chief executive of the coalition government and had challenged Ghani in the September election. Abdullah has also declared victory. He had announced plans to hold an inauguration of his own, even vowed to form a parallel government. So, on one hand, we have a political deadlock, and on the other, the increasing violence. Fighting has continued across Afghanistan. The Taliban has denied responsibility for today's attack in Kabul, but they recently resumed their attacks against the Afghan government forces. Also, some elements of the group have been accused of attempting to escalate tensions. Our WION correspondent, Nick Harper, is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Good evening to you, Nick. Now, Donald Trump making a comment about the Taliban perhaps seizing power post the U.S. troops' withdrawal. What do we make of this?
Yeah, quite a strange comment from the US president, especially at a time when the US is pushing so hard to try and get that peace deal. Of course, over the course of the last week, we've seen the signing by the United States and Taliban last Saturday of that agreement that essentially will pave the way for a complete peace deal and also lead to the withdrawal of the more than 10,000 US troops from Afghanistan. But Donald Trump clearly worried that potentially there is that threat of the Taliban overrunning the government and seizing power in the country once the United States withdraws. Now, the US is saying that they could potentially do that within the next 12 months if that peace deal goes ahead, but we've already seen some signs that that may not be as easily as was planned. We've seen the Taliban continuing to carry out attacks this past week. On one of the days this week, the US President Donald Trump spoke to a Taliban leader, but on the same day they carried out about 50 attacks in Afghanistan, and the US is urging them to end their campaign of violence, and they're saying that they need to do so for this peace deal to be able to go ahead. But here we have, as we heard just a moment ago, the US president saying that it's not supposed to happen, but it will possibly take place. He also said that countries need to take care of themselves, a suggestion that the Afghan government needs to boost its security forces with the US withdrawing. So the US president is certainly worried about the potential of this happening, but they are pushing ahead and still asking the Taliban to do all they can to come to the negotiating table.